Hi friends, it's Andrea over at Sewspire.com. I hope this video finds you well. I had a little bit extra time today and it is finally raining outside and the temperatures have cooled down some here in Virginia. So it seems like a good time to make a video for you. I want to say thank you to everybody who offered up kind words and compliments about my latest creation, that beautiful quilted jacket that you see over here behind me. I have been dreaming of that for like a decade and I finally made it a goal this summer and I was able to accomplish that goal thanks to the support of our friends over at Sewspire Studio 365. I'm super happy with how the coat turned out. I highly recommend the Elemental coat pattern if you too have been dreaming of making a quilted jacket for yourself. Today we are going to assemble a quilt block that I have already cut out. It's called Rite of Spring, and I absolutely love this book, the Quick and Easy Block Tool. It has 110 quilt blocks in it in 5 different sizes. It just makes quilting so easy and fun. So this is the block here that I have cut out. It's block number 76. And I generally always work with the 12-inch blocks. We're going to assemble that together and then we're going to create a super basic tote bag and attach this to the front of it so that we have a really pretty design. So if that sounds like fun to you, do me a huge favor, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we'll jump right in. So when you're attempting a block like this that has a lot of pieces, it's really helpful to look for the patterns in it or the parts that repeat. So in this case, the 4 corners are repeating. So I have pre-crafted 3 of those, and then I have separated the 4th one, which we're going to craft together so you can really see how those pieces come together. So we're going to begin with these 3 pieces here, and we are going to attach a triangle to each side. So when I am working with this type of configuration, I like to keep the bottom edge there, or the longest edge of the triangle, flush, and then I let the little dog ears overlap at the top. So using a 1/4 inch seam, I'm going to stitch up this right hand edge. And then you can finger press that open. I like to put it right back in place and then take the second triangle, prioritizing that longest edge is even and the dog ear overlaps the first. And I'll stitch that down using a 1/4 inch. And then the next logical piece is this top corner, and that just goes across there, right side's facing. And there is overlap on each edge of that, so you just center it. Stitch down that long edge with the 1/4 inch. It's always a 1/4 inch. It's not recommended that you backstitch or reinforce your stitches. It can be helpful to use a little bit shorter stitch length, although I am currently using 3.5 on my machine. So now I have that top sector done. Then down here, we're going to work one triangle at a time and attach that to the square. And I'm going to do the same thing and prioritize this right angle here with the dog ears at each end. But I'm going to be stitching along this edge here so that that folds back down into place. This part right here I think is the trickiest part of this block, and that's why it's really helpful to just work one section at a time and then put your pieces back in their right place so you don't get too far ahead of yourself. Same thing, prioritizing this right angle, making sure the edges are nice and even, and the dog ear is at the opposite end, stitching right across there. And for this project, you could use any quilt block. You could even make a scrappy random quilt block. Just make sure that when your quilt block is finished, it measures approximately 12.5 inches. The half of an inch will be consumed in our seam allowance. Okay, then the next logical thing is for me to put these triangles on and stitch down that long edge. And then I have one more triangle. And then I want to take this rectangle and position it right sides facing on top of that remaining section and stitch end to end. And then I'm going to give this section a good press. Okay, now I have my 4 corners complete, and those are identical. Now it makes sense to craft this center medallion there. So it's just a square and 4 triangles. My center medallion is done. I'm going to give that a good press. And then I'm going to attach these two. So one corner on each opposite end of this. All right, now you can see I have that center quadrant done. Now I want to take these triangles and attach them to each of these remaining sides. So then I have 3 pieces with 2 straight sides, and that makes it really easy to come together. And then I have the last section to attach. I am prioritizing this center square there so that I don't take off the points on those. Let me know if you like it. These are all out of print Amy Butler fabrics. I ordered a bundle of these. They were remnants from an Etsy shop owner who was selling off her stash. And I made my coat, and I still have a lot of the fabric left. So I'm going to start working it into these quilt blocks and then crafting these totes, which I'm going to tell you how you could potentially be the lucky winner of this if you stay tuned till the end of the video. So next we're going to craft the basic tote bag that we're going to attach this block to. So the block itself is going to become the focal point for the bag. Okay, to make the bag, you're going to just need some cotton duck fabric, or home decor fabric. I personally just like to work with this really natural color fabric. You should be able to find that at any fabric or craft store. And I have here 2 squares which are 16 inches by 16 inches. And then I also have a handle which I have pressed from a 4-inch wide by 48-inch long piece of the same material. I folded that in half long ways and pressed, then opened that up and brought those outer edges inward on that center press line, folded that over, and pressed again to create a very narrow 1-inch strap that's going to look great with this bag. We will stitch and cut this strap in just a few moments. So before we get started crafting the bag, we need to attach that quilt panel to the exterior front of this bag. So the way that we're going to do that is to cut out a like-sized piece of fusible fleece. Fleece should only be fusible on one side, okay? So what you want to do is feel that, and the fusible part of that where the glue is really rough versus the other side should be nice and soft. So we want to position the glue right sides facing. So the glue should be facing the pretty side of your block. Whatever you do, do not iron this right now, okay? We just want to stitch all the way around the edge of this using a 1/4-inch seam allowance. And we want to leave a 4-inch opening to turn that right side out. So remember, the glue is right sides facing. And at that opening, I am gonna back stitch to reinforce so I don't accidentally rip that when I'm turning it right side out. And if you stop at one of those larger triangles to do that, that will help keep you from accidentally taking out one of these seams. So I left my opening to turn at one of these larger triangles here. And so now I want to reach inside of there and turn this right side out and poke out those corners good. Remember, you can't take this over to the iron because you have the glue on this side. So you will fuse this beautiful panel to your ironing board cover and probably not be very happy with me, I'm guessing. Okay, so what you do want to do is get it as nice and smooth as you possibly can, and then get that centered on your bag panel. So you're going to want to make sure that you poke out the corners as best you can. And I'm actually going to pin this in place. Okay, so I have my panel attached to my exterior of my bag. I'm going to go ahead and head to the iron and press this really good, and that will fuse the fleece to my material. And as I was pressing, I carefully removed those pins that I had holding everything in place so that I could get that attached really well. Now the very next thing I want to do is top stitch all the way around this so it is very secure. I don't think that the fusible fleece would be enough to hold this long term, so don't skip the top stitching. And then after I do the top stitching, I'm going to come in and stitch a bit in the ditch here. You could do any kind of pattern that you wanted, honestly, on this. Just add a few more rows of quilting to this for detail. To review, you have your right side facing up on the front and the rear. So wrong sides are together or the interior are together. You're going to use 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and stitch around the sides, the base, and up the opposite side. Then you will turn that inside out. Poke out those corners really well. So I have pressed this so it's nice and flat. Now I'm going to come in with 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Stitch down those sides, across the base, and back up the opposite side. I don't want to stitch the top close, so just the sides and the base. And the reason that this works is because the second seam allowance captures those raw edges. So whatever you choose for your second seam allowance, it has to be larger than the one that you used first. So you could go 1/4 inch and 3/8 of an inch. That would be fine. The reason why I went with the larger seam allowance on this particular canvas is a woven canvas and it frays. So I want this bag to hold up in the wash and be able to carry heavy content. So I really don't want to have to trim up that seam allowance and then risk that fabric will fray. I want this to be a forever bag. Okay, with any good luck, when I turn this back around, I don't see any raw edges. You've got a nice chunky corner down here as a result of that seam, which you can kind of squish and give the bag some natural depth. Not much, it has still a very slim profile, but you could do that and it would work quite well. Okay, so now what we want to do is fold over this top edge 1/2 inch. And initially I'm just going to finger press that. And then I need to turn it over again so that those raw edges are captured inside of there. I have my top edge turned over twice and that is clipped in place. Now it's time to craft my handles, which I gave you those measurements in the beginning and explained how I press it. Now I just want to run a row of stitching down this open edge all the way down and then come back across the folded edge with a second row of stitching. Okay, now I have a nice thick 4-ply strap. I want to divide that in half so that I have a set of 24-inch long straps, which should net me about a 10-inch drop, which is comfy for most folks. So now I want to measure in 3 inches on each side here and tuck this strap up under that lip. Put your strap in a U, stick it inside the bag, and then tuck that raw edge of the strap up under there so the outer edge lands on that 3-inch mark. And then get the clip to hold that in place. And then once you get both straps in place, double check that they're even on both sides. Adjust if needed. And then you're going to put this up on your machine deck and stitch all the way around that top lip of the bag. And for this, I am going to be using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. When you reach those straps, go ahead and reinforce with a back stitch. So I have made it all the way around. And now what I want to do is bring those handles up. And I'm going to fold those and come across there with one more row of stitching, so that basically I'm just folding the handle down a bit and I'm going to come in and stitch right across there with one more row of stitching just at those handles. So if you have a cam press, which I do have one, this would be a cute spot to insert some rivets if you wanted. So you see I have folded those straps in a way that then now they're prioritizing being up. So I'm just going to come back in right on top of that existing stitch line, only across the handle, and add another row of stitching. And there we have it. It's so cute. It's just really sized for everyday use. The fabric is what makes it so special. Oh, I love it. And then obviously it could be reversed and you could just wear it on the plain side if the print didn't match your outfit. I want to give you a couple of measurements on this. So when this bag is finished, it measures 13 by 13 inches, and it ended up having a 9-inch handle drop. So that's probably good for summertime or if you're not wearing a coat. And you can see it coordinates so nicely with my quilted jacket. If you check on my Instagram page, you can see more photos of my quilted jacket. That is a project that we're working on all summer over at Sewspire Studio 365. We'd love to have you join us. If you haven't heard, I have a very limited time offer where you can get lifetime membership for one ridiculously low price, $19.95. Lifetime access to Sewspire Studio 365. I want to front load as many members as possible before I resume teaching my masterclass, AMC. That class begins on Saturday, July 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to run 7 weeks. I'm going to run through my whole design methodology, and that is the methodology that I use to design and sell more than 7,000 bags. So this is probably not a class that is going to be of interest to you brilliant, experienced bag makers. Just full disclosure, this is a class that is really geared for the new bag maker or for the new handmade entrepreneur who's looking for ways to streamline and create a sustainable bag making practice. But all of that being said, for $19.95, you get a free pass to my masterclass. So all members of Studio 365 get a free pass. If you don't want to be a part of Studio 365 and you just want to take the masterclass, I will be opening registration for that around July 1st, and you could just pay, get in, and attend the masterclass, participate, and be done. Whatever works best for you, but it's going to be really hard to beat the $19.95 price. That's not $1,995. That's less than $20. It's crazy. So it has really been such a pleasure to spend a little bit of time with you on a rainy Friday afternoon. I know a lot of you just made it through a heat wave, or you're still in the middle of a heat wave. I know the world is crazy. And right now I'm just doubling down on the things that mean the most to me, that are in alignment with my values and virtues. And one of those is community, and the other aspect is creativity. So for me, as I'm sure is true for many of you, creativity really is the place where I can convene with my higher self. That is where time stops, and I just have so much fun, and all is well. So if you need to reconnect with your creativity or reconnect with like-minded individuals, Studio 365 is a safe space. It is outside of the realms of social media. It is hosted on a platform called Kajabi that comes at a premium cost to me. I do that because I believe so much in the power of community and creativity. So now is your chance. There will never be a lower price ever to join our community. And I look forward to working with many of you during my masterclass, AMC. I will be back with another video that talks all about what we're going to cover in that class. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't had a chance yet, please do subscribe to the channel. I have hundreds and hundreds of bag making tutorial videos here on this channel. And then I also have an Etsy shop which sells supplements to the tutorials. So if you'd like a written document to go along with those, some of those supplements are simply the measurements and the link to the video. And it's just meant to be a reference document for you that makes your life easier. You don't have to take a whole bunch of notes, but some of them are step-by-step tutorials for classic bags. One of which I would like to recommend to you is my ultimate zip top diaper bag. Don't be fooled by the name. It's an amazing craft tote, an amazing everyday bag. It's got tons of pockets on the outside, pockets on the inside, a zipper top, a crossbody strap. It can be crafted in patchwork styling, make a one-of-a-kind. It can be crafted from whole cut of fabric, which is what the tutorial is for. And I have a step-by-step video tutorial for that you can check out completely for free. I'll link to that somewhere here in the description or up on the screen. So again, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've missed you all so much. I hope you're hanging in there. If you need a little pick-me-up, come and join us over at Studio 365. We meet every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Sending loads of love, light, love, 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 lots of love, loads of love, light, and creativity to you all. Be well and stay safe. And if I don't see you before then, happy 4th of July. Hi friends, it's Andrea. I hope you're doing well. I just finished recording a step-by-step tutorial for this beautiful bag. I'm going to edit that and I'll have it posted on YouTube just as soon as I can. But the reason I'm here today is to tell you I'm giving this pretty bag away. It's crafted from the out of print Amy Butler fabrics that I used to make my quilted jacket you saw yesterday. And if you are a subscriber to my weekly newsletter, which is completely free, you are entered to win. I'm going to draw the winner next Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, so check your inbox then. And if you're not a subscriber, just follow the links or hop on over to Sewspire Studio 365.com and sign up. I'll see you over on the YouTube soon. Hope you have a great weekend.